The secret of getting ahead is getting started.
Now, I wish to call upon Assistant Professor Mrs. Rajanandani ma'am to give the formal instructions to the participants.
A happy welcome to everyone. For the smooth run of this webinar, please follow the instructions. Participants are kindly asked to disable the mic and video button by touching the two icons. Please do not press on the screen. If you accidentally exit from the meeting, again, click the meeting link and rejoin. Students can clarify their queries through chat box in the end of the session and not to turn on their audio until the session ends. A feedback form will be given after the session ends. Fill the feedback form correctly and get your e-certificate for participation. This webinar is also streaming live in YouTube. Thank you all.
Thank you, Ms. Rajanandani ma'am, for your needful information.
The Department of BBA and BSc in Nehru College of Aeronautics and Applied Sciences is conducting one-day national level webinar on future of aviation industry and job opportunity after COVID. We put forth our respect to the founder chairman, late Dr. P.K. Das, for showering the blessings to all who are under his head.
One song can change a moment. One idea can change a world. One step can start a journey. But a prayer can change even the impossible. Now let us make a prayer.
Thank you all for your patient attention.
A dream that has become a reality through magic. It takes determination and hard work.
Yes, it's a belief endorsed by our head of the department, Professor Singara Vadivellu sir. He has always been our resource of motivation and inspiration. It's my privilege to welcome our dearest HOD sir. Sir, please come and address us.
Thank you, madam. Good afternoon and a warm greetings to most respected participants, students and staff from other institutions, my dear colleague friends and my dear students. First of all, before starting, I first thank you all for showing the interest for joining in this webinar. I know that definitely of knowledge. On behalf of the group of institutions and on behalf of Nehru College of Aeronautics and Applied Sciences, I take my immense pleasure in welcoming you all for the webinar on future of aviation industry and the job opportunities after COVID-19. First, our pronouns to our founder chairman, Honorable P.K. Das sir. I wholeheartedly welcome Advocate Dr. P. Krishnadas, Chairman and Managing Trustee, and Dr. P. Krishnakumar, CEO and Secretary of the renowned Nehru Group of Institutions, for being a moral support in all our endeavors in their absence here. It is my privilege and honor to welcome our today's resource person, Mr. John Papachan, Assistant Professor and the Coordinator of Aviation Training Academy, Cochin International Aviation Services Limited, who, in spite of his busy schedule, spending his valuable time in sharing his knowledge to all of us and to our students. Sir,
Thank you.
I'm sure that you are going to update us all the relevant information regarding our aviation industry and the job opportunities after the COVID-19. Thank you so much, sir, for accepting our invitation. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. My heartfelt welcome to all participants from the various institutions and all the students. I would like to welcome Dr. P.R. Balaji, the Head and Dean Academic Affairs of Nehru College of Aeronautics and Applied Sciences. He is the one who is encouraging and motivating us in all conducting the kind of all aviation webinars, which will be much useful in enriching our knowledge. Thank you very much, sir. We welcome you, sir, with our kind heart.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I would like to welcome Dr. P. Muthumi, Professor Emeritus from MBA Department, and Mr. Ramesh Babu, the Training Manager of IME, AMT Department, and Mr. Thomas from Kerala, and the NIET, Dr. B.R. Sendil Kumar, sir. All, we are welcoming you and thank you for your blessings to us. I would like to welcome all my faculty friends and student friends for this well-awaiting webinar. My grateful thanks to the organizer of the webinar, Assistant Professor Rajanandini Madam, Assistant Professor Rajeshwari Madam, Assistant Professor Nalini Madam, and Assistant Professor Mr. Salvin Sek sir, and the MOC team. Once again, I welcome you all and participate in the webinar and get. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your heartfelt invitation.
The pessimist complains about its wind. The optimist expects it to change. The leader adjusts the sails.
I invite the ever-elegant leader of our department, Dr. P.R. Balaji, Dean Academic Affairs, to preside over the webinar. We eagerly awaiting to hear words, sir.
Very good afternoon to you all. It's a wonderful Thursday afternoon, I need to say, immediately after the lunch. Such a wonderful topic which we are all looking forward. Future of aviation industry and job opportunities after COVID-19. Who else can be a better person other than Dr. Joman Papachan? A very good friend. We started interacting very recently, but ever since we have a very good cordial business relationship. They have accepted gracefully to train all our students in the Cochin International Airport, where we started sending, but unfortunately due to the lockdown, that has all stalled, and we are all eagerly looking forward for this lockdown to again open up, and then we start our training session once again. Future of aviation industry, when people they say, I have worked in the industry for many years. I worked both in Oman as well as in Qatar. And we know what the exact industry is looking forward. If you ask me, the future of aviation industry is very, very bright. And it's not me, it is predicted by IATA. If we Google, IATA clearly says India is going to be the #1 aviation market by the year 2030. Now, we have seen the Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji He has also come out with a new scheme, the UDAN scheme, the regional connectivity, where it's going to be, even the flights are going to be cheaper. He clearly says for 500 miles, the airline needs to charge only 2,500 rupees, which on an average counts only 5 rupees per kilometer or per mile, which is much cheaper than a road transport by sharing an auto, which I always keep referring. This is becoming the aviation industry. It's becoming affordable. It can reach even a common man here in India. And India, where we sit with a population of 1.3 billion, and our economy is constantly growing. And I'm sure most of the people now in India, like how we started using smartphones. Smartphones is an easy reach for even a common man. Okay. Today, if you see, even scavenger is using a dual SIM. So that is the kind of affordability India has been seeing, and I am sure this kind of affordability will also come in the aviation industry. And the Narendra Modi ji has also come out with another scheme that he is going to have all low-cost airports, like the low-cost airline, is going to come out with low-cost airport where it will have the basic essentials for the flight's arrival and departure. And it will have more connectivity with all the other cities, tier 2 cities, which also have connectivity. So that means the more the airports, the more the aircraft operations, more the job opportunities are waiting. This lockdown, I can call it as a shutdown. The entire world has come to a shutdown because of the pandemic. This pandemic is totally new to all of us in this generation, I have seen. So we have never seen a total lockdown worldwide like this earlier before. But in the industry, I have witnessed many problems when I've been working from the year 1985. The one thing which I can say, in 1990, there was a Gulf War. But the Gulf War, where when the Iraq invaded Kuwait, they started burning oil wells and the war started. So in that region was affected, and the aviation was suspended in that region, and the flights were not overflying that region. But rest of the world, the flights were operating. The aviation industry was not affected. But because they burned the oil wells, the oil prices went up, and the ticket prices have also gone. That time, there was a small downfall in the aviation industry in a particular region. And later on, I have seen the 9/11 incident. Okay, September 11th in 2001. Again, they used the very first time, I think let it be the last time as well, two aircraft were used to by the terrorists, and they went and crashed the twin towers, where we have seen 2,977 people dead and more than 25,000 people were injured. And there was a very big threat to the aviation industry. The common passengers were little worried, thinking that flying by air was not safe. So that had stalled the aviation industry for some time. And definitely, the most of the airlines, they went bankrupt during that time. They went bankrupt, and then it took some time for the aviation to bounce back. And we have also seen epidemics like SARS, the bird flu, which had affected only the South Asian regions, the SAR countries, where like Hong Kong, China, and those areas. But the flights were operating in the rest of the part of the world. And again, it all came back. There was a very big hit to the aviation industry when MH370, the Malaysian Airlines, disappeared. Until now, it has been posing a very big challenge and threat to the aviation industry. We are unable to know what exactly has happened to the aircraft and to the passengers and the crew member who have traveled in that. So these are all the aviation industry has been witnessing. But what has happened? The aviation industry, in spite of all this, those problems, though it stalls the activities to some extent, later on the aviation industry bounces back. Because today, that is the only fastest transport available. That is the only one which connects the countries, which connects the continents. So far, there is no other new innovation. So this will continue. And I'm sure once the lockdown is released and when we are back to normal, all the aircraft will start flying again. It will start connecting continents. It will start connecting the cities and countries, and people will start traveling. But what has happened? All the travel which has been suspended now, whether it is for the business or for pleasure, it has to happen again. People cannot stay inside a locked room, and especially I know what kind of depression people would have been gone through. Maybe it may take 6 months or 1 year for everything to become normal, but definitely after that 1 year, this industry is going to bounce back. And when it comes to job opportunities, I will tell you, every single airline flying, there is a job for you. And now, due to this COVID, few people have lost a job. And I'm sure they may not be sticking on to the same job. They would have tried, got into business, or they would have jumped into some other airline. But once the airline industry again resumes, comes back to normal, they need to recruit, they will have to fill all the vacant positions. So there will be a lot of opportunities there. And apart from that, as I said, India, it's growing in leaps and bounds when it comes to aviation industry. So it will again bounce back. The airlines like Indigo, SpiceJet, Goa, everybody, they have placed more than 100 aircraft in the with Boeing and Airbus. The aircraft are, it will soon reach in the next 5 years' time. The aircraft will be here. It will be in the Indian skies. So every single aircraft, every single airport is going to create a job opportunity for all my students, those who are aspiring to become an aviation professional. And I'm sure we say every problem there is a solution, and sometimes the solutions are even much better. Today we are talking about this lockdown, which has stalled all the activities. But I will say during this lockdown we have learned so many things. We now started knowing how to make use of the virtual platform. We started conducting classes. Now I will tell you, during this 1 month we had so many webinars. We have brought in speakers from abroad. We have brought in speakers from different parts of India, and they have been addressing, which has never happened during our normal period. But now it is happening. And today, our seminar hall, we can accommodate comfortably only 150 students. And if we squeeze in, maybe probably we can accommodate up to 200 students. Today I'm seeing it's crossed more than 210 students in the virtual platform. People from different parts, they are participating. And see, when such webinars are in, I always invite my friend, Mr. Thomas, who has put in more than 35 years in the aviation industry, where he has worked with Qatar Airways, British Airways, just because, one thing, aviation, rapidly changing industry. We need to keep updating our knowledge. So dear students, all the audience, those who are here in this platform today, in this webinar, I'm telling you, job opportunities, you have a very bright future. This is only a temporary problem, not a permanent problem. We will, like any other problems, we will also overcome this COVID-19 very soon. And I'm sure today we have a wonderful speaker. We have Dr. Joman Papachan with us, who is also a good friend of mine from the PL Academy. He's come here. He is going to enlighten all of us about the future of aviation industry and the job opportunities available here. So please, students, pay your attention. If you have any queries, once you finish, you can just send it in the inbox, in the chat box, and we will send those queries to him and he will answer it leisurely. So on behalf of the management, and I will have to again cordially welcome once again Dr. Joman Papachan for this webinar, and wholeheartedly I also thank you for sparing your valuable time and being with us. We look forward
Thank you,
to
sir.
your future.
Thank you, sir. It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Over to the host, please.
Thank you, sir. It was very informative speech to all of us. The mediocre teacher tells, the good teacher explains, the superior teacher demonstrates, the great teacher inspires. I bring forth the inspiring teacher, Assistant Professor, Mr. Salvin Isaac, to present the chief guest profile.
A warm good afternoon to one and all. I am elated to engrave the profile of our eminent chief guest. Our special guest, Dr. Joman Papachan, is presently working as Assistant Professor and Coordinator of Training Programs at the Aviation Academy of Cochin International Aviation Services Limited. a wholly owned subsidiary of Cochin International Airport Limited. Previously, he held positions as officer on special duty for the commencement of academic programs of CL Aviation Academy and served as the coordinator of the MBA program in Aviation Business Management in collaboration with Indira Gandhi National Open University, New Delhi. Besides, he was the faculty member of Marketing and Business Research at Adi Sankara Institute of Engineering and Technology, Kerala. Our chief guest has obtained more than a decade of professional experience as marketing manager, project manager for consumer and industrial products and marketing research. Mr. Joman Papachan holds a PhD in airline marketing, an MPhil in management, MSc in applied psychology, and MBA from Institute of Business Education and Research, Maharashtra. Besides, he has published his research papers in high-quality international referred journals, international conference at IIM Kozhikode, and several conference proceedings. He has 8 research publications in aviation management in international journals and chapter in edited books. Our chief guest is also a reviewer of the Journal of Airline and Airport Management, published from Barcelona, Spain. Our chief guest has also organized more than 50 national level trainings, seminars, and workshops in the field of aviation. His research interests are in the areas of passengers, behavior, customer relationship marketing, consumer psychology, and educational research. Currently, he has completed a new book titled An Introduction to Aviation Management for Beginners, which focuses on the basic aspects of airports, airlines, airport ground handling, passenger handling services, and customer relationship management, targeting the aspiring learners in the field of airline and airport management. We are all proud to have you amongst us today, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. A. Salvin Isaac, sir, for delivering the information about the resource person. It's time to begin and acquire knowledge in the subject. Now, I request the resource person, Dr. Joman Papachan, to share his knowledge on this forum. Welcome
Good
you,
afternoon.
sir.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. The big introductory session. First of all, I would like to appreciate the Nehru College team, the founder of the college. I just want to appreciate Dr. Krishna Kumar, CEO of Nehru College, the Dean Academic Affairs, Dr. P.R. Balaji, the Professor Singara Vadivel, HOD of the department, Professor Salvin Isaac, Professor Nalini, Professor Raj Nandini, and all my friends in Nehru College of Aeronautical Science. Shall I go to the screen? I mean, the slides straight away, because I think I have got time.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I hope the screen is visible to you now.
No, sir, it's not visible.
No, not yet.
Is it visible now?
No.
Yes, sir, it's visible, sir.
It's visible. Okay, great.
Slides.
Yes, sir, it's visible, sir.
Okay. Is it visible full screen? No?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So let me start now. I just want to start with a small slogan that we will fly again, although in a different way. Okay. And airlines, travel companies, and the tourism sector as a whole are among the most affected businesses. And for the first time in history, and the tourism sector as a whole are among the most affected businesses. You know that. Aviation, if I say the scenario behind, I mean, before the COVID, aviation was very essential. Aviation carried more than 45 billion travelers. Aviation was growing steadily, particularly you can say in the Asia Pacific region. We are in the Asia Pacific region, you know. Aviation industry was a catalyst in the development of the global economy. Aviation industry had made its place as an enabler for tourism growth. You know, as per the statistics, 57% of international tourism was supported by air travel. You know, if you take the growth rate of aviation market, particularly domestic aviation market, if you compare 2 years, 2018 and 2017, you can see India was doing a very good job compared to all other big nations. So India was progressing at a rate about 18 to 19% in domestic market. And China was not doing that much. China was doing hardly 12 to 13%. Russia was there just behind China. USA hardly 5%. So you can see all the big countries, they are doing very well before the COVID. And I'm talking about 2018 statistics. And now what happened? Air transport has been accused on spreading the virus worldwide. And COVID has brought aviation to a standstill, as explained by Dr. Balaji. Today, aviation is a victim and the most affected of all. You know, 95% of the aircrafts remain grounded since the pandemic in the absence of passenger demand. And maintaining aircrafts in airworthy condition is a big task, a bumping task for the airline companies. And this coupling effect of these restrictions straight away observable on the balance sheet of the airlines very soon. These are available right now. And you know the global market position today. From IATA, I got it, this database last day, the very recent database, till June, we have got only 57.6% is the global passenger load factor. And you know, this global passenger load factor means revenue passenger kilometer divided by available seat kilometers. And in international, it is only hardly 40%, and domestic it is just above 60%. So this is a situation now. And you know, passenger revenue loss that are taken from the ICAO, International Civil Aviation Organization estimates, you can see there are 6 regions, and Asia Pacific region has got a very high decline. You can see the details right from January to June 2020. And January and February figures are available only with the Asia and Pacific, which means this decline has actually contributed by the started by the countries in Asia, I mean particularly China, and you can see from the graph -60 that is the passenger revenue loss, -60 US dollar billion in billions, -60 billions US dollar. That much passenger revenue loss occurred in Asia Pacific region, and followed by Europe, -44 billion US dollars, and in North America it is -40 US dollars, billion US dollars. But the other 3 regions not affected very much, if Africa, Latin American countries, and the Middle East. So Asia Pacific region has got the severe impact because of this COVID-19. And if you go through the IATA estimates, airlines net profit, what is the net profit of the airlines to 2020? So IATA have made an estimate. Net profit for the full year 2020 in US dollars, that is in billion, you can see Asia Pacific region is going to be affected. minus 29 billion US dollars. That will be the net loss of this particular region, and followed by Europe and again North America. So from this statistics, you will get an idea about in which part of the world this particular pandemic, I mean the COVID-19, is affected more. Africa, even though year-on-year passenger change compared to 2019, 58.5% is there, but net profit loss, if you take net profit, actually it's a loss actually, not net profit. Net loss is happened in Asia Pacific region hardly. And again, if I take the global impact on COVID in 2020, there are various segments like air passenger traffic. An overall reduction of air passengers, both international and domestic, ranging from 53% to 60% in 2020 compared to 2019. Statistics given by ICAO. Then according to ACI, this organization for Airports Council International. So this organization has estimated a loss over 50% on passenger traffic, 57% or US dollar is equivalent to US dollar to 97 billion airport revenues actually lost because of this pandemic. And this comparison is made with respect to business as usual, that is compared to the year 2019. And according to IATA, for airlines, there is a decline of 55% revenue loss, passenger kilometers lost because of this pandemic. And in tourism, other allied sector, tourism, a decline in international tourism receives between US dollar 910 to 1,170 billion. Compared to, you just take the previous year figures, it is 1.5 trillion US dollars. So this is a situation according to United Nations World Tourism Organization. And again, as far as trade is concerned, a fall of global merchandise trade volume by between 13% to 32%. So that is definitely going to affect the global GDP. Okay. And again, global economy is projected of approximately minus 5%, you can say, on an average. And this is a worst situation the world has ever faced. Minus 5% overall global economy has declined. If we talk about consequences during COVID, consequences, I can say airline revenues. A grounded plane will not make any money. That. So airlines definitely incur more expenditure. No revenue coming, only expenditures. So apart from their fixed expenditure, they have to spend money. They require money in terms of extended maintenance and parking fees. And again, major manufacturers, Boeing and Airbus, they are not going to see any scope for fresh orders. Instead, they may face threat of cancellation of existing orders. That is the condition. And again, airline professionals are facing the possibility of retrenchment. They may likely to lose their jobs. I'm talking about pilots, cabin crew, other staff. And that also may add cost to airline in the future in such a way that they need to train new set of pilots and staff whenever the things are normalized. So this is a consequence during COVID. And another important thing which I want to highlight is people psychology, passengers psychology. So travel priority is a factor. So COVID scenario has actually perpetually redefined the travel in terms of essential and non-essential. So interestingly, only 30% of travel was in effect essential. Remaining 70% people, they consider majority of the travel, including vacation trips, social visits, routine business meetings, being termed as non-essential now. So that is a trend we can see during this COVID period. So the basic questions raised from this unprecedented pandemic situation, many people are asking the same questions. How long will the pandemic last, and what will be the severity levels? How deep and how long will the global recession be? How long will lockdowns and travel restrictions continue? How fast will consumer confidence in air travel be restored? So will there be any structural shift in industry and consumers' behaviors? How long can the air transport industry withstand the financial adversity? So all these questions I would like to highlight within the limited time available. Okay. So before that, I just want to show you once again what will be the capacity, what is the capacity available in a global scenario, whether they have reduced, cuts the capacity, whether passengers traveling, how will you compare with respect to the various regions. So estimated impact on international passenger traffic and revenues by region for 2020, that is the estimations, projections. So capacity has reduced in North America. If you take, I hope you all are listening. Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Sir, yes, sir, very
So,
clear.
yes, okay, fine. So North America, if you take, I told you in the beginning, these are three regions: Asia Pacific region, Europe, and North America. These are three areas that are going to be affected the more, I mean, because of the pandemic situations. So if you take the capacity, almost 60-65% capacity has come down in the North American sector. And if you take the passenger traffic, negative figures, 106 to 180 million. If you take revenue, minus around 30 billion US dollars lost in America. If you take Asia Pacific region, our region, that includes Australia and China, India, all the other regions, you can see take the passenger traffic, around 400 million passengers traffic has lost. I mean, there is no passenger, there is a shortfall. Again, capacity 60 to 70%. Capacity has come down. Only 30% capacity we are using. Again, revenue, if you take around 75 to 85 billion US dollars revenue lost because of this situation. And this is the same case with the Europe also. So 540 to 600 million passengers lost. Again, capacity 50 to 57%. And this is the latest statistics I got from ICAO. ICAO has given this estimation. Okay. And now, if you take the WTTC estimated a loss of 197 million jobs in travel and tourism sector in 2020 alone. And this is the situation. ICAO has done an analysis with respect to three scenarios: best case scenario, baseline scenario, and worst case scenario. So I'm not assuming we have not so far gone to that worst case scenario. I assume that we will be in the baseline scenario, not in the best case scenario. So if you take the baseline scenario, if you take the job loss in million, Asia Pacific region is going to be affected more compared to other regions. Whereas Europe, not that much job loss is there. In North America also, not that much job loss. It is there in the Asia Pacific region. Similarly, if you take the GDP part, more than 1,000 billion US dollars GDP loss is there in Asia Pacific. It's the same case with Europe as well as with the North America. So why people are always consider GDP and employment and the aviation growth. All these three pillars are actually very, very related. So if you want to predict aviation, it's very good tool if you go through the GDP, if you go through the economic growth, if you go through the unemployment level, if you go to that economic scenario, it has got very high correlation with the aviation growth. So that's why I'm comparing this GDP and the job loss and the aviation. Okay. Now, if you take the another important segment, that is tourism. If you take international tourist arrivals, compared to last year, I mean 2019, there were 1.5 billion travelers, tourists were there, leisure travelers, plus 4% growth also recorded that time. But during January, May, minus 56%. And that too in our Asia Pacific region, 60% reduction, decline. In America, it is only 47%, and in Europe, it is 58%. So Asia Pacific region again has lost a lot of tourist arrivals. That is another aspect of this COVID. Now, on this, all of you please concentrate on this slide. This slide will give us some hope, some scope with respect to our region. I think you can understand this pink color is actually pinpointing the domestic travel segment, and the blue color indicates international travel. Okay. And the pink color shows 70% in our Asia Pacific region. And in this Asia Pacific region, 70% of the passengers are domestic passengers. Only 30% are international. Whereas in case of Europe, 74% are international passengers. Only 26% are domestic passengers. I mean, using this airline, I mean, air travelers. Again, if you take Middle East, 79% of the aviation travel, I mean, passengers, air passengers are international. Only 21% of the people there, domestic people, using these airlines. So here you can see 70% still, since domestic segment, if we are able to withstand, or if we are able to recover this COVID situation very soon, at least if the domestic sector is on, we are going to be. And if you take USA, the same situation. I mean, mostly USA, North American, and 84% of the travelers are domestic. So this gives us some kind of positive, energy, and we are a little optimistic about this particular situation. The major challenge, coming slowly to the future, the major challenge, a large part of the flying population, there are basically three types of passengers out there: business, leisure, and VFR category. So if you take business and leisure, they are unlikely to travel until they feel it is safe to travel in large numbers. A survey by IATA indicates that 50% of regular passengers are not willing to fly for the next 6 months, even if regulators open up the skies. Another thing is the impact of GDP. The air transport industry in India contributes $35 billion to its GDP annually, while generating 1.34 million jobs. If the aviation sector were to halt, I mean, the economy is affecting the economy is going to affect, then the aviation sector also going to affect in the same manner. So, I have published one article with respect to these topics, the comparison of the aviation market growth and the GDP and the population and unemployment, national income. All these are very, very correlated, and particularly in developing economies. I mean, the emerging economies, this correlation is very high. This correlation means I have collected data from the World Bank data. World Bank data I have taken and compared. And what I found is that the aviation market growth and the GDP, population size, everything is highly correlated. Whereas in case of advanced countries, this correlation is modest. You can say 0.6, 0.7, that level. Whereas in developing countries, the correlation between aviation market growth and the GDP, population, unemployment, all are up to 95, 0.95, 99%, 0.99 correlation is there. So according to United Nations World Tourism Organization database, tourism accounts for 10% of the GDP, global GDP, and with 1 in 10 jobs linked to tourism. So there is another segment, that's why the unemployment level is going to be affected, because of it is affected the tourism industry. And I just invite all of your attention to this particular graph. Shows you a lot of inputs. I mean, it gives you a lot of inputs related to the future. Okay, we studied in business students, particularly BBA, MBA students, are studying this business cycles. So there will be a depression. There will be recovery, like that. No? So anyway, we have got statistics up to June, and just see it's happened. This particular pandemic started, affecting the economies from January onwards this year, isn't it? And originally, you can see the first curve, that is that curve shows their originally planned seat capacity, and the second curve shows total passenger number. So you can see a very high decline starting from this point, isn't it? And domestic passenger number, you can see domestic passenger number is above the international passengers right now, and you can see again decline started. But you can see there is a recovery on all these three. Whereas in international passenger numbers, the recovery is very, very, very slow rate. You can see that. It's very, very slow. So it will take time, international passenger numbers. Whereas domestic, seat capacity is already there. They are not offering, that's why it is reduced. So this is a very good sign for domestic passengers, okay, domestic sector. Again, this is a very important graph, projection, world GDP projection given by IMF, International Monetary Fund. From this slide, you will get an idea about what will be the future with respect to the region-wise, with respect to the economy-wise. You see, this red line shows emerging market and developing economies excluding China. So China is not a part of this, even though China is a developing country, but it is excluded in this picture, in this graph. China has got a separate line, yellow line. China, they have got the problem well before, before we face this problem. And there is a sharp decline in terms of their GDP, but they immediately recovered. And just see, if you compare, I hope you can see my cursor moving. You just take from 2019 quarter one, 2019 quarter two, likewise, we have given projection 2021 quarter four. So we have got projection till that period, 2021 quarter four. So just take China, if you take 2019 quarter one, and if you just remove this portion of this graph, you can see they have attained the same level of the trend line by the end of this year. By the end of this year means by 2020 quarter four, they will have the same track record as before. That the projection line, trend line shows like that. Whereas the sad thing is the advanced economies projection, already they were just behind the world average, and because of the COVID fallen down, and just see, they are not even touching the 100. That is the normal level. They are not touching even after 2021 quarter four. But the advantage for our economy, developing economy, we will be reaching at the previous level by quarter 3 of 2021. That is a projection. Okay, but we will have a recovery in the first quarter of 2021. So we will cross that 100 line. We cross the 100 line. 100 line closing means, plus and will come. Plus GDP will be +1, +2, +3, likewise. So the world average, that is the black line, world average is actually going up because of the China. China is pulling up the world average line. But if you see, emerging market has shown an upward trend after the end of this year. That is a good sign. Why I am taking GDP? Because I don't have any other tool to have an estimation, a projection, or to give a prediction, isn't it? Because nobody knows what will happen next year. But this is the right method we can calculate, because it is highly correlated. If GDP is fluctuating, aviation growth also will fluctuate. No doubt about that. Okay. Now, how this economy recession and the recovery will take place? There are 4 informal classifications describe different types of recessions. I'm just going a little fast. I know that this was purely economics. There are V-shaped recovery, V-shaped, U-shaped, L-shaped. L-shaped is the most dangerous. L-shaped means not returning to the original line, trend line growth. And W-shaped means a double. It's a dip, recession, down, up, likewise. And another one is Nike shoes shaped. So in order to explain this, I'm just going to show you another slide. So you'll get a very good idea about how this different recovery, recession and recovery will take place. So you can V-shaped, you can see this is a V-shape. This is actual. Up to this is actual. And from here you can see the changes that is happening. V-shaped path. So this is the most preferred case, but that is not going to happen. And again, I just assume that a U-shaped path we will get. The world, if you take the seat capacity, passenger seat capacity, compare the baseline, business, if you compare business as usual and what is going to happen. So this U-shaped curve we may get, and that is the most desired at this moment. V-shaped, we don't think. Some countries may get this V-shape, like China, some other countries. But we assume a U-shaped recovery graph will be there, and that will be there by the you can see the decline. I mean, the passenger seat capacity decline. It has to reach the zero level, isn't it? So anyway, it is not going to reach zero level. I mean, very soon. But we expect to have a better shape if you follow if you get a U-shaped recovery path. Okay. Now, aviation after COVID. This is what many people are just want to listen. I mean, wanted to know. So, once survival is guaranteed, we don't know exactly which date onwards everything is going to be free. On which date it's going to be open, we don't know exactly. But once survival is guaranteed, airlines have to look into the revival phase. That's very, very important. And during that revival stage, they need to work with its stakeholders. Stakeholders, all the regulators, all the different agencies associated with the airlines, isn't it? Airports, passengers, the different government organizations. So they have to work together and innovate the aircraft. It's very important. Airlines can think of revenue only if passengers resume travel, that we know all. And again, airports and airlines have to focus on getting passengers to fly. That's a very important thing. I mean, all these stakeholders have to work together to have a primary demand. So primary demand has to come because of the fear, because of the this panic situation. Only people are afraid of traveling. Okay, vaccine is found, the dire scenario will change, and we can see the results will come a little early. Noticeable acceptance for air travel will be there if the vaccine is. And aviation, again, another important thing is financial packages. We also expect the same thing, like USA, China, Singapore, Australia, all these France, all these countries already identified or recognized the problem, and they have identified aviation sector industry as a very crucial industry. If anything happened to that industry, that will have repercussions in the other sectors also. So they have strategy in financial packages. So that is very, very important for us also. Okay. And again, the situation is deteriorating. Airlines are in survival mode. It faces a liquidity crisis. According to the regional vice president of Asia Pacific, IATA's regional vice president of Asia Pacific, Mr. Conrad Clifford, this liquidity will be in the range of 61 billion US dollars. So definitely, countries like us, developing countries in and around our country, I mean region, India, Indonesia, Japan, Malaysia, the Philippines, all these countries are priority countries, and they need direct financial support, either in the form of loans or loan guarantees and support for the corporate bond market, or can be tax relief. So this is very, very important for us to get a good future in our industry. 11 million jobs are at risk in the Asia Pacific region alone. That include all the dependent industry also, such as travel and tourism. So, another thing, according to IATA, as per the May 2000, very recent, 2 months back, the estimates that the COVID-19 crisis will see global airline passenger revenues drop by $314 billion. So this is a fall of 55% compared to 2019. And so these estimates are based on scenario of severe travel restrictions lasting for another 3 more months, with a gradual lifting of restrictions in domestic markets first, followed by a regional, and lastly the international. So this will be the pattern of recovery. Initially, there will be domestic markets will be recovered, then followed by regional, then it will be international. And because of that, what we can say, confidence building measures, very important, to be taken up by the airlines, in particular for the revival of this aviation. And again, strategies are required. Strategies to gain passengers' trust. That is very important. And only a single airline cannot do this. We have to work together, including the policy makers. They have to participate in this program. That is, strategies should be developed. And in case, suppose people, as Dr. Balaji was saying, we all are now within the 4 walls. So we are already adjusted to the situation. We have got online mechanism. We know how to purchase things online. We know how to avoid travel. So if these things, if all these things, work from home, that culture is gaining acceptance, that will be a problem for the transportation industry. So we have to think about strategies to gain passengers trust. Very, very important. Same thing. Another one is set stage for the new norm. So that homework we have to do now. So as a student of aviation, you must continue your studies. You must participate in all the programs. You must be very well equipped, ready to serve like situation. You have to be very careful about that. Another thing, once everything is normalized, social distancing, health security, that is news likely to come. There will be act as guiding factors in the foreseeable future. The way we travel will never be the same. So the concept of air travel will have to go through a turnaround before we can start commercial flights after. So for that, what we can estimate, what we can project, what will be the how it will be there, how it will be implemented. For example, I think the aviation health authorities, AHAs, similar to the aviation security organizations, may be formed. When the people started moving in a big manner, I mean, if everything get normalized, definitely there will be some agency will be coming into the scene. All passengers may be required to produce coronavirus negative medical certificate obtained from authorized centers a day or two before the flight. That is happening now also in case of international travel. Again, basic screening on the website will be made compulsory. Again, only those travelers who qualify the health checkup will be allowed to proceed. I mean, they will be allowed to go inside the terminal for check-in. Available technology will be customized for contactless checking. So yesterday, last day we were talking about contact checking, but self-checking. Now we are once again, one more step we are going ahead. Not self-checking, it will be a contactless self-checking, isn't it? So like generation of boarding passes using a barcode scanning, biometrics, voice command systems would be used. And the use of contactless card payments may be made a norm. Again, cabin baggage may be disallowed or restricted to essentials. Only COVID-19 free passengers would be permitted to board a flight. Organizations like ICAO, IATA, and other aviation associations, along with the WHO, may come together to work out new standards, standard practices, and recommendations, like a new annex. So far, we have got only 19 annexes, right? So I assume there will be one more annex likely to come in order to have common standards, standards and recommendations. It will be annex 20 may likely to come. We can have some expectations after COVID. 40% of that expenditure, those who have already vast experience, you are faculty members, you are being got vast experience in this sector. So, 40%, around 40% of the expenditure is spent for aviation turbine fuel. So what we can expect after COVID is ATF is a major component of this operational cost. Some tax base, especially on ATF, is expected, as per a study by Wing Commander Dinesh. And in Indian context, ATF price is very high, so it may come under the GST rank and enable airlines to take into tax credit, which will be a major relief for them. And another expectation is, people are very crazy about this A380 and all. So that I think aircraft like 380 is doubtful to find utility in the near future. But experts say the right option may be twin engine long hauls. For regional travels and all, maybe B Boeing 787. That may be the right balance between capacity and reach. And for Indian conditions, what experts say is the short range operations, point-to-point operations, immediately after the COVID, ATR would be the best option. ATR type aircraft can have a capacity up to 72 passengers, right? And again, immediate challenges anticipated for airlines in India after COVID. Immediate challenges I would like to put in a short formula. The formula is flight, FLIGHT. So people can remember this very easily. So what are the immediate challenges anticipated for airlines in India? First one is financial obligations. how much able they are to perform contractual obligations. There will be definitely some payment spending, how they find the fund for these things, how they get the loan. Next one is lease agreements. The lessor will have an analysis about the airline, their capacity. Many of the airlines aircraft already taken back by the lessors, isn't it? So there will be some pending balances. So how they pay, the analysis will be there. So the airline has to be very careful about these lease agreements. Next one is definitely there will be some import duties and trade barriers, particularly with China. So import duties may be there. So it will become more expensive in case of freight movement, isn't it? Through air. Another one is government support for loan and resolution. Resolutions means, I think government of India may reconsider or they may amend the present policy with respect to bankruptcy and all. So there will be some relief for the airlines. So government support for loan will be there, or some tax concessions will be there. So that is very important, immediate challenge for the airlines to grab this facility. Another one is hedging arrangement for ATF prices. Very, very important. Most of the airlines are going for this hedging arrangement, isn't it? So what will be the price strength of the ATF, aviation turbine fuel? Depending upon that only, the future is structured, isn't it? So that hedging arrangement for ATF prices is playing an important role. It's a big challenge going to be for the airlines. And again, the last is flight. The last key. The key is third-party agreements. How airline will find the supportive clients like catering for aircraft maintenance and overall crew training and flight dispatch. All these things they have to find out a good optimum type of what do you call it, arrangements has to be made for recover from this big crisis. Okay, and the last one is the impact on job opportunities. Expert studies research suggests that total airline employment will be decreased by 7% to 13%. That is the projection. Only this much airline jobs will be affected. People don't get panic about this. Once things are normalized, definitely there will be opportunities coming. Employees with major earnings are hardest hit by the shock, followed by low cost, then regional. I think the airline staff working with major airlines may have some problems for the present time being, followed by low cost, then regional. So you students can easily identify which are the types of airlines we can focus more on. Unskilled airline employees face the biggest threat during these workforce reductions. And another thing is most affected employees could be ones involved in passenger handling and flight operations. During these uncertain periods, and there will be demand for fresh pilots in India, particularly for small aircraft like ATM. Different aircrafts they require different types of pilots, isn't it? So licensing is required accordingly. So what I found, what I observed after discussing with the experts in the field, there will be a good demand for pilots in India for flying ATR type flights. I mean, small to medium range flights. It is estimated the recovery following uncertainty shocks to take between 12 to 18 months. That is only a projection. I am not very sure about this time frame, but we can have an optimistic view about this situation. The recovery may come 12 to 18 months. Those who are studying for the second year, no problem for them because they have to complete one more year to go. Focus on your studies, try to get maximum knowledge. It's a good time for that. Good time for studying, actually. Now, IATA indicates the impact from COVID-19 crisis affects countries in the Asia-Pacific region. Their estimate is 29 lakhs jobs in India. Potential impact of this COVID. 29 lakhs jobs in the country's aviation and its dependent industries. And the revenue impact for airlines operating and from the Indian to and from the Indian market would be 11 billion US dollars. In rupees, it is 850 billion. That is a passenger revenue compared to falling passenger revenue compared to 2009. And from experts' views, I would like to highlight the jobs will be in need immediately after COVID. Industry would require fresh flights, I already told. Then industry, airline staff requirements for regional and air flight services, cargo handling vouchers, I think they are not affected at all. For custom brokerage, dangerous goods handling is a specialized area where people can focus on. Airline jobs in customer service, security, ground handling, cargo operations at non-metro airports. Earlier I said there will be some problem with the flight handling people, but at non-metro airport, as Dr. Balaji perceived in very right manner, there will be, because of our UDAN scheme, Prime Minister is encouraging that. No. So point to point, small non-metro airports, there will be flights moving. So there will be opportunity in these sectors, customer service, security, ground handling, and cargo operations. And another thing is, as airlines would necessarily go for cost cuttings, definitely there will be some measures for cost cuttings. Restructuring plans will be there. Qualified fresh graduates may find jobs as paid trainees for airlines. I know MROs are coming up. Our Cochin International Airport have a very good MRO now, going to be full swing very soon. Just want to inform you that. So, get what I suggest the young professionals, aspiring learners of aviation. So get updated on your new market trends, developments, fine tune your communication skills, prepare well, and please remember one important thing: don't get cheated by fake companies and their offers. Always there will be people to explore this situation. They may come up with all these false advertisements and all. So please verify the official websites of the companies, airlines, airports, wherever you find vacancies, please verify. Then you apply directly. Or you just contact them and ensure that these vacancies are correct or not. This is very, very important. Companies may come, so don't get cheated by these companies. Okay. Future of aviation, I can say this crisis may lead to consolidation of airlines companies. That may happen because previous to COVID, there are certain airlines. They were actually at the edge of this what do you call it, bankruptcy. Like we have seen a lot of examples, Kingfisher, the Jet Airways, many airlines. So consolidation of airlines may happen immediately after this crisis. Level of government support would shape the future of some airlines, are very sure. If government support is not there, it will be very difficult for some airlines to survive. So full service carriers find it difficult to start as the recovery in the international market is very, very slow, isn't it? So moreover that they will have to face competition from international players and potential entry of new airlines in their home hub. So that makes things harder. Whereas low-cost carriers and regional airlines, they will have a good time. That is what our assumption. Regional airlines will be the short-term winners in the recovery period. And future of aviation, we can say low-cost carriers expected to concentrate on the primary markets. Large airports, if you take airports case, the airports hosting a hub could strengthen their leadership by attracting new airlines. Like metro airports, they may have the leadership and they may attract new airlines, especially hub-to-hub operations. Then again, low disposable income clubbed with fear and health concerns. That are the more major issues that will just pull back the leisure passengers. Hence, confidence building measures have to be taken, and we have to target this segment. And this segment also play a major role in increasing the passenger flow, passenger growth. And the last slide, the future of aviation depends on, I would like to put it in A, B, C, D, E. So A, the aid and support from government. To summarize, B, that is beliefs, attitudes of passengers and their confidence for air travel. The readiness to fly. Again, C, containment measures taken by the authorities. That will decide the D, duration and magnitude of the outbreak. And E, the economic conditions like GDP, unemployment level, disposable income. All these definitely affect the future of aviation. And I would like to thank once again Dr. Balaji, Professor Singar Vadivel, Raj Nandini Madam, Rajeshwari Madam. I remember many people who have come for attending our training programs. So after the COVID crisis is over, we will resume our trainings. And thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Spontaneous overflow of powerful knowledge and wisdom reflected in the recollection. Sir has almost updated all the information about current scenario in aviation industry to all our students by covering the topics IATA estimates, consequences during COVID, travel priority, impact on GDP, etc. It was very useful to all our students and also stupendous presentation. Sir, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you once again.
We are gratitude like a clock, and it will feed every corner of your life. Let's be grateful to the people who make us happy. They are the charming gardeners who make our souls blossom. Now, I would like to call upon Assistant Professors Mrs. Nalini Ma'am and Rajanandani Ma'am to
I deem it a primary responsibility to express my heartfelt gratitude to our founder chairman, late P.K. Das. My attitude today is one of the gratitude, the magnitude of which is infinitude and plenitude. A warm and graceful evening to one and all present here. It's my great honor and privilege to give token of gratitude to all on this splendid occasion. First and foremost, I express my most sincere thanks to God Almighty for showering all of us with good health in this pandemic situation. A special thanks to our managing trustee, Advocate Dr. P. Krishnadas sir. I'm blessed to be grateful to our Honorable CEO and Secretary, Dr. P. Krishnakumar sir, who is the eminent person always encouraging and guiding us in all our teaching excellence. I take this opportunity to thank our vibrant personality, Dean Dr. P.R. Balaji sir, who is giving ceaseless support to organize this webinar. At the outset, I would like to thank our outstanding resource person, Dr. Joman Papachan, Assistant Professor, Aviation Training Academy, Cochin International Aviation Service Limited. Sir, we are really enlightened by your knowledge and presentation. I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to our head of the department, Professor R. Singara Vadivelu sir, BSc and BBA department, who has always been a pillar of strength and providing opportunities to explore and organize such events. My sincere gratitude also goes to Dr. P. Muthuswamy sir, Professor Emeritus, MBA department, for his unfaltering support to all our programs. I also extend my sincere thanks to the training manager, Mr. A. Ramesh Babu sir, AMT department. I also extend my thanks to our ever charming and ever helpful personality, Mrs. E. Malliga ma'am, IATA coordinator, MBA.
I must mention our deep sense of appreciation to Mrs. Rajanandani ma'am, who is organizing this webinar. Ma'am, without your efforts, this webinar could not be happen. Thank you, ma'am, for your enthusiastic support. I have obliged to the active participants present here. You're always cooperating us throughout the webinar, a grand success. I express our profound gratitude, Mr. Sudarmani, Professor NIT Campus, and Mr. Roshan for the YouTube coverage. A big thank you to organizing team, Mrs. Rajeshwari, Assistant Professor, BBA BSc Department, Mr. Salvin Isaac, Assistant Professor, BBA BSc Department, and Student Coordinator, Mr. Charles, Final Year BBA Aviation Management. So, this is a short time you have made the best arrangement for this program. Thank you, team wholeheartedly. I once again thank you all.
Now, before we go into the national anthem, just 2 minutes I would like to take. In fact, it is the time for me to congratulate the BBA team, especially Rajnandini ma'am. The moment she came, she approached me and she said, "Sir, we are planning a webinar." And I said, "It's most welcome." And she immediately said, "This is going to be Dr. Joe Papachan." It was even more overwhelming. I said, "Yes, please do it." And the topic they selected is the the aviation sector, the future, and also the job opportunities. I said, a need of the hour, especially when students are really worried about the pandemic and the COVID situation. Very well organized, ma'am, and well supported by Mrs. Nalini ma'am, Mr. Salvin, Mrs. Rajeshwari, and the entire team from the BBA department. I also thank and congratulate our head of the department for taking charge and conducting this webinar so well. I look forward for more webinars from your department as well as from the BSc department. And I once again thank Mr. Joe for his wonderful presentation which he has done. He has taken a lot of pain in bringing out the statistics and reflecting it. So everything which has spoken the facts and figures in the aviation industry. Thank you so much, sir. And thank you all the participants. Over to the host, please.
Thanks a lot, sir, for sweet words. All's well, that's
Thank you, sir.
all the people who have taken part and made smooth run of this webinar. Thank you all. Be healthy and happy. Thank you, one and all present here. Thanks a lot.
Sir, thank you very much, sir. Babachan, sir. Thank you very much,
sir.
Dr. Sir.
Thank you, sir. Sir. Balaji, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Charles. Thank you.
Sir, thank you, sir. This is Santosh.
Thank you, sir. Stop sharing.
Nehru College of Aeronautics and Applied Sciences, a pioneer institution for aeronautical studies in India, established in the year 1968. We offer aircraft maintenance engineering, approved by the Director General of Civil Aviation, New Delhi. We also offer BSc Aeronautical Science, BSc Aircraft Maintenance Science, BBA Airline and Airport Management, and MBA Airline and Airport Management in collaboration with Alagappa University, Karaikudi. Apart from that, we have two international programs. We offer BBA Airline and Airport Management and Diploma in Aeronautical Engineering Technology in collaboration with Lincoln University, Malaysia. We also give EASA training, European Aviation Safety Agency, for our maintenance students. The specialty of the college is we have 7 aircraft parked inside the campus, varying from the light aircraft to the heavy aircraft. And now you are watching me sitting inside an heavy aircraft Hawker. And this is where my students are going to have hands-on training for the aeronautical maintenance engineering. Further, our students will have an on-job training with Air India. We have signed an MO with it, and I am sure with all this practical experience, they are going to excel in the career. We have the state-of-art, full-fledged aeronautical laboratories, and our faculties are well experienced and most of them with an industry background. Here, we just don't offer only a degree program. Parallelly, we also give them the value-added courses like International IATA Airline Customer Service and Amadeus Training Program. So, with an aviation degree coupled with these value-added programs, our students become industry fit before they leave the campus. I am proud to say that all my alumni students are working worldwide in different airlines and different airports and in the travel and tourism industry. Regarding aviation, it's one of the fastest growing industry in the world, and India is going to be the #1 market in the year 2030. If aviation is your passion and if you want to join the high-flying career, why wait? Come join us. I am looking forward to seeing you all in my campus. You will definitely have a bright future. Wishing you good luck.